Hi guys, I'm Chris Spicer, owner of CS Engineering. I first worked on JET200 in 2009. It was version 3 of the car. We did roll cage, separated the rear parcel tray from boot to cabin, full exhaust system. Now it's got a little bit more serious. It came in just for 6-point roll cage and maybe 2 or 3 little other things. And then it just escalated into a list of 50.
The original list of things to do was pretty straightforward. Continue the cage, install the pedal box, and install the new turbo and intercooler setup. However, just like us, Chris tends to get a little bit carried away, and we came up with an even bigger list of things to do. Neither of us wanted any excuse why the car this year couldn't be as fast as it possibly could be.
Well, it needed a new roll cage, firstly for safety. The half cage it was in, it just wasn't good enough for what he was doing with the car. The car got too fast, too serious, too serious. The half cage was already chrome molly. It was meant to be light from the beginning, so we continued that with the front molly front clip in it. We added a couple of bars into the actual cage. We added a vertical into the roof for helmet protection, for rollover protection. Basically kept the cage as tight as we could, so we could actually stitch the cage to the body to eliminate weight in the gussets and stuff like that. We just stitch the cage straight to the body. Creates heaps of benefits: clearance, vision clearances, helmet clearances. Every cage should be custom to the car. Everybody sits in a different position. Everybody has different needs, different approach to get in and out of the car. It just depends on the purpose and the use of the cage. From the traditional 6-point, we added an extra 2 bars underneath the intrusion bars, which go halfway between the front leg and the rear hoop. It's just an extra support just to keep the chassis stiffness. We added another bar from top of driver's helmet over to top of windscreen bar. It's just in case the car ends up on its roof. It's extra protection. We added a couple of bars into the back to tie the intrusion bars into the back clip of the cage, basically just to tie everything together. So no matter what part of the car takes impact, it will have a point to push. A good cage should be super tight, and it is a pain sometimes to get on top of the cage to actually weld it, but we actually drop the cage through the floor once it's about 75% through fabrication. Once we've welded what we can weld, we actually design the cage around the car to make sure it can fall through the floor and then be reattached to the body. The car, for what it is, will probably not benefit out of any more bar work in the car. All we're doing is going to add weight to it next. We've taken that lightweight approach to the car. We said from day dot that we want everything light. You know, it is a time attack car at the end of the day, and it will be seeing a lot of track use. We don't want to put additional weight for no reason. The car came to me with a 6-boost manifold. It only had the first bend of attachment of the wastegate. It was a split pulse. We continued to split pulse to the actual wastegate, so the wastegate has a split pulse the whole entire way through the piston of the wastegate. We then redid the dump pipe. Side pipe, which escalated into a little bit of work, ended up with a tunnel through the floor, remounting the seat position again on the passenger side as well. Then we had a look at the intercooler pipes. We made shorter pipes. We remounted the intercooler so the outlets are at the top. The pipes are less than 500mm each side now, instead of having the conventional down and under chassis rail pipes. I think the new intercooler system with smaller intercooler pipes, less distance to travel, should have a throttle response. Should have a better feel. It's less volume to fill, and less weight. The exhaust system on the car is a little different to the conventional way of doing it. We did put a resonator in it. I cannot help that sound that pipes make without the resonator in it. We didn't want some barky, poppy exhaust. We made the last section of the exhaust aluminium. It is 2mm aluminium, so it won't actually give that tinny stainless or mild steel sound to it as well. It will give the car a nice note. Doing the side pipe, we had ground clearance issues. We didn't want to do it the conventional way everyone else does it and put the actual pipe and squash the pipe, put it lower than the car. We actually fed the pipe through the sill, through the fiberglass body kit. We channeled the floor, kept everything tucked up, away from anything. Because the side pipe shoots out the side of the car now, it's now 90 degrees outside the car, we added the flex pipe into the vertical part of the dump pipe to give it more movement. We also had the fabricated screamer pipe. Very simple, very short, straight. It's got less than 45 degree bend in it. While the car was here, we looked over the whole car. There was a few little bracketry or a few little mounts. We put some supports into it just to make it a little bit stronger, like the wing. The wing was getting a little bit of deflection. We added a couple of gussets into the wing. We made a removable rad support to get the engine in and out very easily. We basically put the rad support in the standard position. We didn't change anything. We have headlights mounting off it. The cooler goes under it. We have the factory braces that actually hold the rad support. The bonnet pins run off the rad support as well, so everything on it was functional. So we just made it look like a factory issue. We added some brackets and nutserts, and then once it's all painted, you won't even know that it's got a removable rad support. The original seat rail that came in was an off-the-shelf bolt-in seat rail. Physically, it wasn't very strong, didn't look very strong. It did its job, but yeah, we remounted the seat, sat the seat lower, did more solid brackets, reinforced the floor to get less flex into it. To get the seating position perfect, we first fitted the pedal box, then we looked at the steering wheel position, we sat the driver in it, we sat Andrew in it also, remade the brackets then to suit the driver. Not where we could put the seat, it's where it had to be. Version 3 of the car was always suffering from brake problems. The calipers, disc combo, everything's been refitted, changed, everything. There's nothing wrong with the disc caliper side of things. We tried and tried with the Nissan Master Cylinder, just could not get enough rear brake bias out of it, and always with a really touchy pedal. We fitted a Wilwood pedal box. It's underdash, reverse swinging. It has a lot more pedal travel, should have a softer pedal feel, and has a lot more bias adjustment in it. The main benefit to having the pedal box in the car is that we can choose the desired size of master cylinder to suit the front and rear caliper. The difference between a floor mount pedal box and the underdash pedal box in our application was mainly the cost. A floor mounted pedal box, it probably would have taken 3 days fitment, including the seat relocation, a new steering column being made, whereas the Wilwood was 1 day fitment. We then delete the booster and the master cylinder from the engine bay, which from the beginning was a problem with inlet manifold clearance and actually getting the motor in and out of the car. We also remounted the accelerator pedal. We put a matching pedal, we completely fabricated one from scratch and welded it to the original pedal attachment, so the pedals are all matching. Then tape the pedal with grip tape, so it looked like the factory grip tape that's on the wheel pedals. Next on the agenda is taking care of the chassis of the car. Since consulting with Andrew Brilliant, we're now going to have to cut the car up once again.
The first thing we had to do was remove the original blended wide body, which contained a lot of fiberglass and bog, before we could cut out the outer skin. This would prove to add up to quite a substantial amount of weight. The next step was to trial fit the Origin Type 2 wide body over fenders, and then mark out exactly where the nutserts would go. We then installed the nutserts, which would allow us to use flush Allen key bolts to hold on the wide body. Another thing we did was remove all of the metal from the beaver panel below the chassis rails, as the new aero will have a false flat floor as high as can be. Chris then panel beaded the wheel arch, which needs to be extended, and also fabricated some new outer skin which folds under the bottom of the car to make it neater and stronger where it holds on the wide body. Chris also fabricated this bracket which pushes out the bottom of the guard so that when you look front onto the car, the wide body covers the entire width of the wheel and tyre for better aero. You can see here the new wheel arch extension getting welded on, which will form a seal inside the wheel arch to stop air from getting inside the cabin or inside the boot of the car. The last step was to remove the engine and gearbox from the car, separate the box so it could go off to be fixed, and we also removed the clutch to be inspected.
That is very light, and these are still perfect.
The car was then shipped off to Cooper Customs so that the shell could be painted before Andrew Brilliant comes to inspect the car so we can design the new aero. The engine was then dropped off at CRD to give it a health check, which we'll check out in our next issue of JET200 version 4.
Once the car's finished at the paint shop, it is then going to come back here and we're going to do final assembly on the car and yeah, maybe some top secret suspension work or something.
And that's pretty much it.
Replacing the rear coilovers for a more efficient design, and this is it, guys. It replaces your rear coilovers. Basically, you can do anything you want to the rear end. The car will never move. It'll handle better. Also, can be easily lowered to any height by a simple cut with the grinder, drill a new hole and put a bolt in it, which is perfect for those guys on the street who love to sit hella flush. Now they don't have to worry about arms rubbing, tyres rubbing, because this will stop all suspension movement altogether. One of these does the job, fixes anything, modifies anything. And this one is a little shorter, a little heavier,